Yo, what's up, guys? So today, coming on YouTube to, shine some light on some strategies that we use at our agency. Specific for this situation, we're talking about how we scaled a brand to 1.4 million USD in under 50 days of having the product live. We've never gone on YouTube before, to really talk about anything that we do. For that matter, we've never really gone on any platform, to talk about what we do. So, yeah, pretty excited for this video. I want to keep it raw, to the point, no fluff, just straight value. So yeah, definitely some good things to talk about, on this recording. So yeah, from here you can see this is brand that we work with. You can see we had our first drop right here, second drop, third drop. This one was at the end of the month, so it kind of bled into June. But yeah, close to a um, million pounds. Pretty exciting. I think that comes out to around 1.4 million USD. Yeah, we're going to be breaking down how we did this and how we were able to scale this quick. So, to provide some context, this brand specific, the people who own the brand, we've been working with for a while now. We started working with them, I believe, 2 years ago. We were running two brands with them previous that were pretty successful. Built some really good strategies around those brands. They still operate to this day, still make good money, but um, we wanted to build something more sustainable, and something that was a little bit more for the culture. And yeah, we did exactly that. So we took the time for R&D. I think R&D took about I want to say 3 to 4 months of just really figuring out the product. Um, our product was very unique too. Not like anything anyone's ever seen. I think the product obviously was a huge, huge piece to the puzzle. But yeah, we spent that time, built a very quality product. That then, is a theme that would then in the future we can build collections around. And yeah, so that was a goal of mine. We knew we had a good product. And for us as an agency on the marketing side, it was really up to us to figure out, okay, how are we going to push this product? So all of our inventory was pre-made. So we knew going into it that we had to hit those marks. Yeah, it was some pressure, but we knew, with the right things in place, we could scale this up pretty quickly. So that's exactly what we did. So to kind of get into it, and what our strategy looked like. So we're going to kind of look at this, as a pyramid, right? Not a pyramid scheme, but just to understand, where the foundation is and kind of how we built up the demand going into this. So first and foremost, at the bottom of the pyramid, right, we have the product. Pretty simple. Like I was saying before, we spent a lot of time developing a good product. And that made our lives very easy. I think that's a testament to if you're going to do something, do it right. Take the time to do it right. And make sure it's quality and that customers will like it. Not just from, seeing it on digital, but when they actually get the product in hand that, it speaks volumes. So, yeah, that's really the base of the pyramid. I think second to that, is content, right? So that's kind of that second piece. Um, so a big piece of our strategy, for this brand specific was short form. We knew that if we leaned into short form the right way, that the rest will follow. So once again, we spent a lot of time figuring out, okay, for this specific product, how can we build viral angles, that will show the light of the quality of the product, but also, catch people's attention in a good way. So, yeah, we have a lot of data as an agency, a lot of insight, a lot of experience. So we were able to, look back and see, okay, what has done well for us in the past with angles that we've come up with, prior, and yeah, just recreated those angles, put our own spin on it. Yeah, we had about 3 to 4 angles that really did the work for us. And honestly, the angles were just really aligned with the product. That was the goal. So we kind of had the product in mind, or we had viral content strategies in mind when developing the product. So there wasn't like a disconnect there. I feel like that is a big big thing to mention. So yeah, with that, short form was like kind of one section of it. Our short form was amazing. We had quite a few videos get into like the couple million range on views, organically. So, this isn't, a video talking about how we blitzscale with paid ads. Yes, paid ads was a piece to the puzzle, but it was just a piece, exactly that. So this is a testament to good marketing, right? So parallel to the short form that we had in place, we also had really good, lookbooks and editorial content, and we aligned that content with the themes of the collections, and really use that content to tell a story. That was the goal. We wanted to make sure that the quality of the product was shown within the content, but also, that we can get an emotional attachment to the product. So, yeah, we spent the money, we got the content we were looking for. We deferred away from, going white background studio. We wanted to show the product in real life. I think that was a big element to it as well, where they're seeing the product short form, but then coming to more of the editorial lookbook stuff, they could see the product, on body and people wearing it. And that is a big objection naturally when selling clothing. So we were able to really break people through that objection. And then third kind of piece of the content was good ad creative. So as an agency, we have around 9 graphic designers in-house, all focused on making good ad creative. We also have a handful of creative strategists that, understand what works on paid, and they build feedback loops in terms of what we think is going to work and optimizing on concepts that already work for us, right? So we try to keep a rule of thumb of around 80% new concepts, 20% variations. That's usually flipped of what most people would say. But when the product's good, you can go wide on angles. It doesn't have to be an iteration game. So that was beautiful. And we leaned into our creative strategist to develop, very good ad creative for us that we knew would convert going into it. And the way we used it too, we didn't show all of our cards up front, right? We made sure that we have creative in place for when we needed it and when we would potentially see fatigue, because we knew going into second, third release, we're going to be spending a lot on paid media. So we wanted to have what we call like ammunition there to be able to break through those levels that we would need to, in terms of spend, and making sure that spend was profitable and hitting the targets that we wanted to hit. Really that simple. And then down the road, not on our first release, but our second release, we took some of the profits we made and we reinvested into short film content. So we aligned the short film content with the themes of the editorials and the lookbooks. Really, the idea here is we really wanted to give the feeling of the brand and not have it be focused on the product. So you need like layers. Is kind of how we looked at it. So yeah, those short films turned out very well. I believe they're about 30 seconds. We did on our second and our third release, just based on the theme. So um, yeah, that's kind of how that all lays out. And then I would say at the top of the pyramid, it is technically a form of content, but I think authority is a big thing. So what I mean by authority is we got a lot of influencers in place. So that wasn't first release. We wanted to build capital. We knew we had the things in place to have a successful first release where then we could roll that profit back into, marketing resources and assets to help us get further. So, and once we had some traction with the brand and had some viral moments, naturally it's a lot easier to get people to wear it. I think I'm a true believer of if you're starting a brand and maybe you are limited on resources, seeding is going to be your best avenue. Paid ads are cool, but I'm a real believer in having a good product and getting it to the right people, right? Ad spend's great, but I'll take an organic impression over a paid impression any day. The quality's better. Naturally there may be a little bit more LTV on those customers in terms of lifetime value. They probably will stick around for longer if that impression is higher quality as an initial first impression. And naturally it's a social proof thing too. If someone sees, their favorite artist wearing the product, it's going to break through a lot easier mentally, right? So yeah, we did exactly that. We structured it where we had more micro creators at the base, and then all the way up to celebrity placements at the top. But we built that bottom up as well. So yeah, we really got that in motion. Second release, third release, doubled down. I'm excited to see what we can do in the future. We have some serious traction now. Yeah, I know we're projecting out probably 3 million in November, which is going to be kind of that drop that we have our eye on the prize for. That's Black Friday, Cyber Monday time. So, yeah, it's really just a matter until then of just building up a massive audience. So when we do want to push that button, we can push that button. So let's talk about hype a little bit, right? So, in terms of our rollout, we were rolling out 2 weeks prior of when we were showcasing the product to when we actually dropped. Going into that third release, we actually spread it out 3 weeks. We knew we wanted a longer hype cycle. We wanted people to sit on that product for longer. We wanted a longer time frame for those videos to really be able to hit and do their thing. So yeah, it was pretty simple. We started with short form in the rollout, then we rolled out the editorial lookbook stuff, and then generally short film coming in a couple days before drop, and then potentially a drop sheet on drop day or carousel showing the products. We kind of were playing around with that drop day post and what would work best, and then obviously our ad creative would get brought into the fold post drop, right? While the products are live is where we would need the juice for sell through. So, um, yeah, and I think probably the biggest reason why this brand was so successful is we hit it hard and we hit it fast, right? People naturally, it's a psychological thing of people will follow the herd. And there's a big sense of FOMO, right? That exists, especially when something's moving so quick at such high volume. I mean, the engagement on these posts were crazy. We were getting hundreds of thousands of likes per post. So naturally, when people see that, there's a fear of missing out. They feel that, oh my God, there's a trend here, there's something happening, and I'm not on it. I need to go purchase this product to, feel one with all these people that are catching on. And when you do it fast and quick and come in aggressive, people it seems like it's something so crazy because it is happening quick, right? So there's two sides of that conversation of sustainable scale versus fast aggressive. It's really just a matter of what you want, right? But we had the resources at hand and we knew what we wanted. So we knew we could play the fast aggressive game and be able to sustain it, right? That's where maybe a sustainable approach, slower scale may be better if you don't really know what the future looks like, right? But we knew what the future looks like. We knew we had a good product that we can expand into further collections, bring in new themes. It's kind of endless for us. And we knew the hype wouldn't die quickly. We knew the hype would only compound on itself. So yeah, that's how we played it. Pretty straightforward. I believe that first release, in terms of how we segmented budget, I think we spent around 10,000 on pre-release. We weren't really even planning on spending on drop. We really just wanted to see the type of impact that 10,000 in terms of pre-release spend would have. So we spread this across, traffic objectives. We spread this on engagement objectives. Um, Most of it was driving towards our sign up page on our password page where we were collecting emails and phone numbers. Aside from the emails and phone numbers, though, the impressions are what mattered. We knew the product was so good that if we just simply got the right eyes on it, the rest would follow, right? And we were tracking our conversion rates on signups and really getting that stuff dialed in. I believe we were even optimizing the hell out of our landing page to increase that conversion rate on signups. But I think really looking back, the impressions was the biggest lever of just having a lot of eyes on a good product that's gonna snowball into itself. So yeah, and then incrementally, I think that first drop, we spent a little bit on sales conversion ads. Um, I don't think we necessarily needed to. We did have a little bit of stock that we wanted to clear through on SKUs that were a little bit questionable, like weird sizing on products that may have been a little bit slower. Keep in mind, when we first rolled out, I believe we had like close to 10 products in that first release, all based on a similar theme. Um, but yeah, going into that second, third release, we saw the impact that we had on pre-release spend. So we knew that, okay, if we put budget behind conversion ads while the product was live on drop day, we're going to see a lot more impact. So I believe that second drop we spent around the same on pre-release, around 10,000, but we allocated around 15,000 towards sales ads on drop day. And we can see, that first drop we did 125. That second drop, it kind of bled into March as well because it was an end of the month thing. That second drop did a little bit better. So that impact definitely came from the conversion spend. I mean, in terms of organic, we had relatively the same impact in terms of visibility and virality. So really the only difference there was we had short film that I think gave it more depth and spend on drop day. And the products were relatively the same, just based on a new theme, right? So that was that. And then third release, we got a little bit confident, right? So we knew, okay, if we're able to spend this amount to do this amount, what happens if we double our budget, right? Obviously, you have to factor in diminishing return. And this is a big thing I think gets overlooked. Where if you go spend more on ads than what you spent previous, majority of the time your return is going to drop. Especially if all your campaigns are pass learning limited, you're going to start to see a little bit of a diminishing return, right? So, as an agency, we do have a lot of data around what happens when you increase spend and what that does to your return, vice versa. What happens when you lower spend, what happens to return. So we were able to use our forecasting methods to predict, okay, if we spent X amount, we're going to go see Y amount in revenue. And yeah, we did exactly that. I think that second release, we upped it. We upped it to around 20K pre-release. I think we had around 50,000 allocated towards release spend. And yeah, it cooked. It did its thing. So we did 400,000. I believe that we dropped on the last day of the month. That was 400,000. And then the next couple of days did 232. So that 232 was a big piece of that conversion spend that we were running. And yeah, it went pretty well. Also something to mention too, that second drop is when we brought influencers into place too. We did see a little bit of impact from that. Our seeding efforts were not very aggressive that second drop, just to be frank. But going to that third release, we did see a little bit of traction on the small amount of influencer seeding we did. For anyone who doesn't know what influencer seeding is, it's when you send influencers product and hope they post. It's different than setting up a brand deal with an influencer. We just knew the product was good, people would like it, and just naturally post, right? So I think we seeded to around 10 people. I want to say we got probably 8 or 9 posts out of it. That third release, we upped it. I think we seeded to around 30 to 40. And the ratios, give or take, held. So, in terms of the amount of people we sent product to, comparative to the amount of people that posted, right? Majority of the content we were receiving was short form content from these creators. We had a mix of micro creators, C tier creators, B tier creators, A tier, and even a couple S tier creators. And yeah, worked really well. And I think that definitely played into a compounding effect. Going into the third release, it was a little bit difficult for us to align people getting the product on time, the post within the time frames that we wanted them to. But we figured, okay, we're playing the long game here. Even if they don't post within the time frame, that brand hype is going to compound into the following release. So I think there's still a lot of gas on the fire that we haven't even seen yet that we'll then see next release from these efforts. Um, and yeah, I think big takeaways from this is it's simple. It's focus on the product, do something different that hasn't been done before, make sure the quality of the product's good, focus on the customer, lean into, pre-made inventory if possible, if you have the resources to make that happen, and start with the foundation first, which would be have good content, focus on short form. I mean, that's where 70% of attention on Instagram is being put right now. Um, and TikTok as a platform, I mean, it's powerful. Also to mention too, we did have a good amount of TikTok spend running. When I was speaking on ad budget, that wasn't just allocated to Meta, that's allocated to both TikTok and Meta. But yeah, went really well for us. I'm excited to see too. TikTok, we kept it low spin, but coming into future releases, I think TikTok's going to be a big part for us. But back to what I was saying, so key takeaways. Yeah, just focus on the product, get amazing content. It doesn't cost anything to make good short form. And lean into what you know works, you know? If you don't know what works, talk to people, ask around, look at other brands, look at what's working. I mean, there is ways to predict growth and virality if you do it right, right? And a big thing too, I think, is understanding engagement ratios and understanding where you want that engagement to sit and what's going to push stuff in the algorithm. Study this stuff. That's what makes the difference. It doesn't cost anything to understand that, right? But yeah, and then use ad spend as an amplifier. Don't use ad spend as your foundation, right? If we didn't have ad spend on this brand, we'd honestly be doing fine. Maybe not 1,400,000, but yeah, we probably would have done 500,000, 700,000. I'd say, give or take, would be my guess. So yeah, ad spend definitely did have some impact, but we built the foundation correctly and didn't become reliant on ad spend. That's the difference. So yeah, I believe that's all of our takeaway. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. First video. Sorry if it was a little bit scrappy, kind of a little bit all over the place. But yeah, if you guys would like more, just like, comment, subscribe. We may do another one of these. I don't know, depending on how the feedback goes and whether if you guys like it. But even if it helps one person out, you know, on their journey, that's all that matters to me. And to us at Epoch, that was the whole goal of doing this. It's just you know, maybe someone comes across this and they implement some of these concepts, and who knows, maybe they'll be doing bigger numbers than this, you know? But yeah, maybe we'll do an update on this brand as well down the road. I'm excited to see where it goes. And yeah, we got a lot more stuff to talk about. This is pretty basic. I thought this would be a good one because it hits on taking something from zero. I mean, that's exactly what we did, right? Well, $81, pretty much zero to something. Yep. Well, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this. Appreciate it. And we'll see you soon, hopefully. Peace.